Welcome everyone to WildCat Park. Tonight's ball game between the Texas High Tigers and your Sulphur Springs Wildcats. And it's senior night for the class of 2019, and oh, what a class it is. Our first senior to be introduced tonight is Bryce McQueen. His parents are Gina and Chris Penny. Got a baby brother, Dak, and sister Emmy. Great-grandparents Durwood and Clara Smith. Bryce has played football for 4 years, 2 years on the varsity. Played baseball for 3 years and did track for 1 year. He's a 4-year Key Club member and 2-year Key Club officer. He plans on attending Tyler Junior College, where Bryce plans to pursue a career in firefighting and paramedics. Let's have a big hand for number 1, Bryce McQueen. Our next senior tonight is number 3, Caden Arkenbright. Caden is the son of Chad and Tara Arkenbright. He's got a brother, Corbin. His grandparents are Mike and Lita Mahan and Danny and Donna Arkenbright. Caden's been a member of Key Club, high school leadership, a member of the First Baptist Church here in Sulphur Springs. He was sophomore of the year in baseball, first team all-district his junior year in baseball. Has been chosen to play in the SCA All-Star game in June. Caden plans to attend Henderson State University to play baseball and major in sports management. A big hand for number 3, Caden Arkenbright. Our next senior is number 5, Jace Thompson. Jace is the son of Jason and Holly Thompson. His sisters are Story and Hattie. His grandparents are Gwen and Margaret Urban and Gary and Sue Thompson. Jace is a member of First United Methodist Church. He's been involved in Key Club, FFA, and 4-H, and also varsity track. He is a 2-year letterman in varsity football and has also played varsity baseball for 2 years. He is a 3-year all-academic athlete and a member of the Hopkins County leadership class. After graduation, Jace plans to attend Texas A&M University Commerce to pursue a degree in business and finance. Let's have a big hand for number 5, Jace Thompson. Our next senior is number 8, Cameron Harrison. Cameron is the son of Chris and Heather Harrison. Cameron's been a member of Key Club. And for the past 3 years, he's been a member of our varsity baseball team. He's undecided about college, but plans to go directly into being a diesel mechanic. Let's have a big hand for Cameron Harrison. Our next senior is number 11, Austin Dodd. Austin's mom is Corey Jackson. His dad is Landon Dodd. Austin has been a 3-year letterman in football and 2-year letterman in baseball. He was first-team all-district wide receiver in football and first-team all-district defensive back his senior year. He's a 2-year National Honor Society member and top 10% in his class. He's a member of the Key Club and has been selected to play in the SCA All-Star game in June. After graduation, Austin plans on attending Texas A&M University Commerce to play football and major in engineering. A big hand for number 11, Austin Dodd. Our next senior is number 12, Jace Birchfield. Jace is the son of Jason and Jonna Birchfield. Jace has been a member of our baseball team and member of our Key Club. He plans to attend Texas A&M Commerce and major in kinesiology. Let's give it up for number 12, Jace Birchfield. Our next senior is number 14, Payson Edwards. Payson is the son of Keith and Angie Edwards, the grandson of Larry and Linda Edwards, and JB and Juanita Williams. Payson has been a member of the top 10% in his class, a Key Club member for 4 years, National Honor Society member of the Chamber of Commerce Leadership Team, 2018 Academic First Team Football, 2018 First Team All-District Utility Player of the Year in Baseball. He's been selected to play in the FCA All-Star Game in June in baseball. After graduation, Payson plans to attend Texas A&M University in Commerce to major in kinesiology. A big hand for number 14, Payson Edwards. Our next senior is number 15, Cameron Zahn. Cameron is the son of David and Angela Zahn. His grandparents are Lewis Morrison and the late Sue Morrison, and William and Charlotte Zahn. Cameron has been involved in welding, UIL debate, FFA, Key Club, an Ag Mechanics show team member, and member of First United Methodist Church, Jennerville. After graduation, Cameron will be attending Stephen F. Austin University, where he'll be majoring in Ag Services and Development, with hopes of becoming 1 year an Ag instructor. Let's give it up for number 15, Cameron Zahn. And our last senior for the class of 2019 is number 17, Connor Bergen. Connor's parents are Corey and Tiffany Bergen, brothers Mason and Brooks, and grandparents Joe Bob and Linda Bergen. For 2 years, Connor was a member of our varsity football team, 2 years varsity baseball. He's been a Key Club officer, a member of FFA and 4-H. After graduation, Connor plans to attend Texas Tech University, where he'll be majoring in criminal justice and business. Let's give it up for number 17, Connor Bergen. Ladies and gentlemen, one more big round of applause for the class of 2019.
We are your official WildCat Radicast station, KSS 1230 AM, Sulphur Springs, Texas. It's time for WildCat baseball. Let's go to WildCat Park, where tonight's game will be called by KSSC Sports Director Don Julian. Don?
Well, James Terry, thank you very much, and welcome everyone into WildCat Park. It's district baseball between the Tigers of Texas High and the Wildcats of Sulphur Springs. A lot riding on this one tonight. It's senior night. They just recognized 9 Wildcat seniors. And right now the home plate meeting is going on with Wildcats head coach Jared Hammock and Texas High coach John McClure. And that'll be breaking up shortly, and we'll begin to get into this ball game. But the Wildcats, they have to win this one in order for their season to go any further into the playoffs. They lose and it's all over. There's no scenario possible if they lose to get into the playoffs. Right now they're tied for 4th place, but the team they're tied with has the tiebreaker. Texas High also tied for 1st place, and the team they're tied with has the tiebreaker. So they're looking like a number 2 seed with Lindell, the number 1 seed, it appears, playing Greenville. They would have to be favored to win that, but Greenville's got some talent and they've got some pitching, and so you never say never. You don't play them on paper. You get out there on the field and play the games. Wildcats 6-8 in district play, and Texas High 10-4. Both teams have taken one game. The Texas High Tigers won here back in March in 8 innings. And the Wildcats won in come-from-behind fashion earlier this week on Tuesday at Texas High. Handshakes at home plate. Let's check in now with Jeff Harris.
Now, here's the lineup for Texas High. Batting first, playing shortstop, number 4, Chris Sutton. Batting second on the mound tonight for the Tigers, number 11, Ryan Sellers. Batting third, playing right field, number 6, Connor Allred. Batting fourth and catch tonight for Texas High is number 5, Jackson Halter. Batting fifth, playing center field, number 16, Chris Lyle. Batting sixth, playing third base, number 10, Michael Zaborski. Batting seventh, playing second base, number 2, Jacob Burns. Batting eighth, DH tonight for Tigers, number 20, Cameron Radney. Playing first base for Texas High tonight, number 19, Walker Davis. And batting ninth, playing left field, number 1, Luke Smith. And here's the rest of the Tigers lineup. Number 7, Carter McPherson. Number 12, Hannah Winery. Number 13, Cole Jean. Number 14, Carson Wood. Number 15, Ben DePriest. Number 17, Connor Allen. And number 18, Hayden Stover. The head coach of the Tigers is John McClure, assistant coaches Scott Manning and Vince Mitchell. And now, here is the lineup for your Sulphur Springs Wildcats. Batting third, playing shortstop, number 3, Caden Argenbright. Batting second, playing second base, number 6, Colson Hale. Batting third, on the mound tonight for the Wildcats, number 4, Jackson Cheney. Batting fourth, playing first base, number 8, Cameron Harrison. Batting fifth, playing center field, number 11, Austin Dodd. Batting sixth, playing left field, number 5, Chase Thompson. Batting seventh, playing third base, number 7, Will Sims. Batting eighth, DH tonight for the Wildcats, number 14, Payson Edwards. Behind the plate tonight, catching number 12, Jace Birchfield. And batting ninth, playing right field, number 17, Connor Bergen. Now here's the rest of your Wildcats. Number 1, Bryce DeQueen. Number 2, Jake Davis. Number 3, Cameron Zahn. Number 21, Austin Krause. And number 24, Jaden Janway. The head coach of Sulphur Springs this year, and assistant coaches Bruce Stillman, Cameron Warren, Shane McQueen, and Joey Chastain. At this time, we'd like to ask everyone to please stand. And gentlemen, would you please remove your caps as we honor America with the playing of our national anthem.
And that's our national anthem here from Wildcat Park. And with senior night with 9 seniors, went pretty fast though. Those guys don't ride as much as some other teams that we follow. But yeah, they're kind of right to the point. Jack Webb School of Riding for senior night. Just the facts. Well, pitchers duel expected tonight. Jackson Cheney pitching for the Wildcats, and pitching for Texas High, Ryan Sellers. And it'll be the second time that we've seen Ryan this year. He pitched in this ballpark back in March. Did not figure in the decision. And I don't think Jackson was pitching then. He has only been pitching 3-4 weeks, I think, something like that, because he had some arm tenderness, it seemed like, at one time. And so they were using him in the field, and obviously he was throwing the ball a little bit, but nothing like the rigors of pitching. But he has been in the regular rotation for, I don't know, the last several weeks. We saw him have a real good ball game against Greenville. And let's go ahead and set the Wildcats defensively. Catching is Jason Birchfield. Jackson Cheney again pitching. Cameron Harrison at first. Colson Hale at second. Will Sims at third, and Caden Argenbright at shortstop. Chase Thompson in left. Austin Dodd in center. And Connor Bergen in right field for the Wildcats. Scheduled to hit here in the top of the first inning, at least the first 3 hitters. Chris Sutton, the shortstop. Ryan Sellers, the pitcher, and Connor Allred, the right fielder. The top of the order, 1, 2, 3 for Texas High. Again, the two teams played Tuesday night in Texarkana. That was the senior night for Texas High, and the Wildcats won that one in come-from-behind fashion, scoring 3 runs in the top of the 7th inning to win 4-2. So Jackson Cheney now working to Chris Sutton, and the first pitch on the way is a call strike on the outside part of the plate. And first pitch tonight at 7:12, so we're a little bit tardy with senior night and all that going on tonight. And Cheney's 0-1 pitch is swung on and grounded down to first base. First baseman Harrison takes it and wins the race to the bag for out number 1. So 2 pitches and 1 out for Jackson Cheney. That'll bring up Ryan Sellers. An uncommon spelling on both of those. Ryan is R-I-A-N, and Sellers, C-E-L-L-E-R-S. So here's Ryan from the right side against Jackson Cheney. Cheney winds, and the pitch on the way is inside for ball 1. I was told that Sellers is a commit to Mississippi State baseball program. Here's a 1-0 pitch, and that is swung on and hit foul off that guard that runs in front of the Wildcats dugout. Keeps things like hit balls like that from getting in that dugout. 1 ball and 1 strike now, the count to Ryan Sellers. As Jackson Cheney winds, and the 1-1 pitch on the way, hit right back up the middle, fielded by the shortstop, throw to first in time. Nice play by Caden Argenbright. Back behind second base, and Argenbright made a strong throw to get a very fast Ryan Sellers at first base. Boy, I'm impressed with that. Cheney did that thing where he flashed that glove at it trying to get it to land in there, and that time he missed. Most of the time you will, but when you make contact, it's a thing of beauty, and we filmed one of those last game. Here's Connor Allred now, and he takes a strike in there from Jackson Cheney. 2 out, nobody on. We're in the top of the first inning. Texas High Tigers and the Wildcats of Sulphur Springs. They've had some great battles here in town over the years. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Breaking ball swung on, hit foul down the left side between the Coach McClure down there in the coaching area and the Tigers dugout. So 0-2 now. Cheney ahead of Allred here. And the 0-2 pitch, breaking ball outside. Actually, that was, I thought he was throwing a breaking ball, but it looked pretty straight and pretty fast. So that was outside anyway. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Connor Allred. Real good hitter in that 3-hole with that open stance. Here's a 1-2 pitch, and that's down too low, and the count goes 2-2 to Connor Allred. He's got a sister on the Texas High softball team, and she is quite a player. Of course, so is he. Here's a 2-2 pitch. Swung on, hit foul back into the screen. The count remains 2 balls and 2 strikes. Wildcats playing all red deep all the way around. Third baseman for the Wildcats is back behind the bag. Here's a ball hit toward Argenbright at short. He gobbles it up. Here's a throw to first in time, and the Tigers are up and down in order in the top of the first. Jackson Cheney, no run hits, no errors, and no Tigers. Played half an inning here from Wildcat Park. Texas High 0, and the Wildcats coming to bat. And bottom of the first inning, and Ryan Sellers is tossing warm-up pitches in there to the catcher, Jackson Halter. Heck, Halter looks like he's ready to fire down to second, and there he does. The rest of the Texas High defense, Walker Davis at first, Jacob Hearn at second, Michael Sikorsky at third, Chris Sutton at short, Luke Smith in left, Chris Lyles in center, and Connor Allred out in right field for the Texas High Tigers. Leading off for the Wildcats is Caden Argenbright, left-handed hitting shortstop. They had 2 assists in that. Back there in the top of the first inning. One of them behind second base, thing of beauty. Here's Ryan Sellers' pitch, and that's going to be up too high. Ball 1 to Caden Argenbright. And Sellers 1-0 pitch. Call strike on the inside part of the plate. 1 ball and 1 strike. Also scheduled hitters this inning, Colson Hale and Jackson Cheney. 1, 2, and 3. That just about hit Argenbright. That was inside. 2 balls and 1 strike. And Sellers wasting no time. The 2-1 pitch misses outside. 3-1 the count to Argenbright. Also going on nearby, the Lady Cats are playing a playoff game with White House at the softball park, Lady Cat Park. And there's ball 4, and Argenbright walks on 5 pitches. That'll bring up Colson Hale, the second baseman for the Wildcats. Kind of a bundle of energy. How about that? Kind of reminds, the way he kind of bounces around and everything reminds me of the energy of Pete Rose when he played. There's Argenbright, they threw to try to pick him off, and he crawled back into first base in time. Taking a modest lead off there, not a bad lead at all actually, against Sellers. And Sellers' first pitch to the plate, bunting back into the screen as Colson Hale trying to bunt, and bunted it foul back to the screen for strike 1. Argenbright, good speed. He'll steal you a base. He's got Bruce Silman down there at first talking to him. Jared Hammock at third. And the throw to first again, and Argenbright back into the bag. If the pitcher, if nothing else, will want to tire that base runner out a little bit, have him diving back into that base. Now Sellers stepped off, and when he did, Argenbright headed back to first. Now Sellers wants a new baseball, so he chucks that one in. And they exchanged that ball and threw that one out of play. Not sure what was wrong with that one, but Sellers has a new baseball out there now from the stretch. And the pitch is a call strike on the outside part of the plate. Hale let that one go, and he's down in the count 0-2. Let's see if Coach Hammock might take the bunt off now on Hale, have him swinging away. And the 0-2 pitch, and that swung on and hit foul down the first base way. Walker Davis is over, but it'll hit back out of play. So the count remains 0-2, and we'll do it all again. Colson Hale comes back to the plate, and Argenbright back to the first base bag. Bottom of the first inning, Texas High did not score in the top of the first, so 0-0. Sellers from the stretch. And the 0-2 pitch is swung on, grounded slowly to the shortstop, fielded there. They throw to second, and it was thrown in the dirt. And Argenbright is safe at second base. That would have been a very close play anyway.
Well, pitcher Jackson Cheney.
as they try to go after Argenbright, and I guess you have to score a E6 on that. Actually, Hale, I think, would get a fielder's choice because they weren't going for him anyway. So runners at second and first for the Wildcats, nobody out. And here's Jackson Cheney trying to help his cause as the pitcher. And Sellers' pitch on the way. Call, strike on the outside part of the plate. 0-1 the count to Jackson Cheney. I think we may have a softball update here. Well, 3-2 headed to the bottom of the third. I'm going to assume that means the Lady Cats are ahead. Here's the 0-1 pitch, breaking ball. That is in there for a call strike, and Cheney in an 0-2 hole. That's the one thing. Drivers sometimes, Derek Driver sometimes doesn't always mention the teams. But I believe that means the Lady Cats are up 3-2 after a couple of innings. Here's a 0-2 pitch, breaking ball swung on by Cheney, hit up the middle. The center fielder will catch the ball. Argenbright will tag, but he will hold at second. Great arm out there by Chris Lyles in center field. And that'll bring up Cameron Harrison. 3-2, Lady Cats leading in the bottom of the third. I think I said that correctly the first time, but then ad-libbing it, I got it wrong. So a close ball game, and it was close last night. It was 5-4 at one time, and the Lady Cats ended up winning 14-4. They just kept pounding away, and they started retiring White House a little bit better than they did earlier. Sellers from the stretch, and first pitch to Cameron Harrison is outside for ball one. One out for the Wildcats, runner still at first and second. Harrison was a big part of that 7-inning rally in Texas High on Tuesday. So he got a big single. And the pitch is called, strike. 1-1 the count to Cameron Harrison. Yeah, Jackson Cheney singled, Harrison singled, Dodd singled back through the middle, drove in 2 runs. And then Will Sims hit a double that scored Dodd. By that time, he had worked his way around to third. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Gets away from Halter, the catcher, but the runners will stay put. It never did get very far away from home plate, and Argenbright tried to advance the other night and got thrown out. As Coach Hammock said, a most uncharacteristic kind of Argenbright play, but he wasn't sure what Argenbright had seen, but that time Argenbright erred on the side of caution. Afraid that Halter would throw him out. 2-1 now the count to Cameron Harrison. Runners at second and first with 1 out. And Sellers' pitch on the way, swing and a miss. Boy, Harrison was going for the downs on that one. And the count is 2 balls and 2 strikes. And again, runners off second and first. And Sellers from the stretch. Looks back at second, 2-2 pitch, breaking ball, just missed outside, and the count goes full to Cameron Harrison. Austin Dodd is on deck. Again, Sellers from the stretch. Does a good job of coming to that complete set. Here's a 3-2 pitch, swing and a miss. Harrison couldn't catch up to that one, and that's 2 outs for the Wildcats after the first 2 batters got on base. Here's Austin Dodd. He's been hitting awfully well since Coach Hammock moved him down to the 5 spot in the lineup. See, I've got that ball game from the other night. I can look it up pretty quickly. Austin Dodd was 1 for 3. It was that big 2 RBI single in the 9th. Scored a run in that, or make that the 7th, and had those 2 RBIs. So that was the other night, Tuesday night in Texarkana. And Sellers' first pitch to Dodd, swing and a miss for strike 1. Sellers looks like he's getting that ball up there with a lot of giddy up. He may only be a sophomore, but I think he's already committed to Mississippi State. I guess that's such a great baseball program. If they're interested, you say, yeah, I'm an 8th grader, but yeah, you got me. You had me at scholarship. And Sellers with the 0-1 pitch, swung on, hit foul, back off to the right side. And 0-2 the count to Austin Dodd. Sellers consistently getting ahead of these batters 0-2 since the first two batters got on base. Actually, he had Hale 0-2 before he hit the ball to the shortstop, who tried to force Argenbright and threw the ball in the dirt. And Sellers with the 0-2 pitch. Breaking ball swung on by Dodd and hit well to center field, but the center fielder in his tracks makes the catch out there. And that's Chris Lyles, and that's going to do it for the Wildcats. So a threat, but nothing more. And they did not get a base hit. There was no runs, no hits. One Texas High error and two runners left on base. So we played one complete here at Texas High. It's Texas High 0 and the Wildcats 0. And top of the second inning, a 0-0 ball game. Give you a pitch count update after that first inning. Ryan Sellers threw 21 pitches in the bottom of the first. Jackson Chaney got out of that first inning. He's been a most economy pitcher, economizing very well on his pitches out there on the hill. And he only threw 11 pitches in that first inning, and that's been kind of what he's been doing lately. I would say the average would be 15. Would be what a major league pitcher would hope to accomplish. Anything above that's high, and anything down below is low. That would be my interpretation of that. Here's Jackson Halter, the catcher that hits cleanup, and the breaking ball by Jackson Chaney is inside for ball one. Halter, Lyles, and Sikorsky scheduled to hit for Texas High here in the top of the second inning. And Jackson Chaney, the 1-0 pitch, swung on and grounded slowly to second base. Hale fields, throw to first. Nicely done by Colson Hale at second for out number one. He charged that ball, and little leaguers everywhere keep that in mind, that you want to give yourself to make that play, give yourself a chance to make that play, charge that ball. Do not wait for it to come to you. Or that one would have taken a week and a half to get out to Colson Hale. It was not struck real hard. 1 up and 1 out. Here's Chris Lyles, the center fielder. Pitch from Jackson Chaney outside for ball one to Lyles. No, the Wildcats did a good job of keeping him off the bases. The other night he was 0 for 3, hitting in the 2-hole. Breaking ball swing and just barely a tip foul. It goes back to the screen. And the count 1 ball and 1 strike to Chris Lyles. And Lyles made an ESPN catch in left center field. I was talking with Cameron Warren, who was at that ball game, about that catch. Just unbelievable. That man is so fast. Here's a 1-1 pitch, swing and a miss for strike 2 as Chaney jammed him that time. Threw him a jam sandwich up there, caught him on the inside. And 1 ball and 2 strikes. So Chaney doing a good job of moving that ball around. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Ooh, a breaking ball that had Lyles leaning back from that one, and the count's 2 balls and 2 strikes. 1 out, nobody on. We're in the top of the second inning here from Wildcat Park. Do or die game for the Wildcats tonight. Here's a 2-2 pitch, swung on, hit back up the middle. Big hop to Argenbright. Fires to first. Oh, he pulled Cameron Harrison off the base, and then Lyles hit the bag very awkwardly and hard, and he's down on his back down there. And we're going to have to check on this player here. Anybody that's ever hit a bag awkwardly and gone sprawling, you know what it's like. Well, he's up quickly now, and he is walking that off. He's ripping those batting gloves off. He's walking off some of that, the ache of hitting that bag real hard and going into a tumble. But it looks like Lyles will be able to continue here. Well, at least we think so. They may have, they have ruled him out. I guess they're going to say that Harrison must have got the tag on him. First base coach has had a question. That's Coach, I'm pretty sure that's Scott Minnie down there at first. I know Coach Minter. I remember him from when he was a girls basketball coach at Texas High. I believe he coached his daughter, if I remember correctly. So they did get Lyles, and now John McClure from third base is coming to talk to the home plate umpire. home plate umpire looked like he's gesturing toward the first place umpire. And so they did get Lyles out. There was good tag apparently by Cameron Harrison for the second out. I thought Lyles had beaten it ahead because it definitely pulled Harrison off the bag, but they say the out was recorded. Here's a ball swung on and hit down to first base to Harrison. He grabs it and wins the race to the bag. And that's going to do it for Texas High. And for the second inning for Jackson Chaney, 3 up and 3 down for Texas High. No runs, no hits, no errors, and nobody left on base. We played an inning and a half now from Wildcat Park. It's Texas High 0 and the Wildcats a 0. Bottom of the second inning, 0-0 here from Wildcat Park. And for the Wildcats, hitting will be Jace Thompson, Will Sims, and the designated hitter, Payson Edwards. Scheduled next 3 hitters, 6, 7, and 8 in the order. And that'll start with senior Jace Thompson, one of the 9 seniors. There's 7 of them in the starting lineup out of the 10 players, including a DH and hitting for one of the players. That first pitch outside for ball 1. And then 2 guys off the bench, also seniors. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Missed inside. 2-0 the count to Jace Thompson, leading off the bottom of the second inning. And the 2-0 pitch. Thompson swings and cranks a foul back out of play. And 2-1 the count to Jace Thompson. And Sellers, 2-1 pitch. He poured that one, looked like right in there, but the umpire said it missed. Must have missed inside, perhaps. I'm not sure. But anyway, 3-1 is the count to Jace Thompson. And again, I am not right behind the plate. I'm off to the right. Here's the 3-1 pitch, and that swung on, hit foul out of play. I think that's a phenomenon called parallax. Maybe Doug would know. It's like one of those camera terms. But basically, it just means you're not squared up with home plate. I'm looking at it off to the right side. Here's a 3-2 pitch. That swung on and hit foul out of play. And 3 balls and 2 strikes to Jace Thompson, leading off for the Wildcats in the bottom of the second in a scoreless ball game. We were scoreless on Tuesday night until Jackson Chaney hit the ball over the right center field wall at Texas High, and that was in the 4th inning. Next pitch is outside, and the second batter that Ryan Sellers has walked. So a walk for Thompson. As Caden Argenbright also walked to start the first inning. So, boy, walking that leadoff batter, that is living on the edge. Usually what happens there is you fall off. Here's Will Sims hitting now. He swings and a foul tip back to the base of the screen. Strike 1 to Will Sims. Will had a huge double in that big 7th inning where the Wildcats rallied. And Will was actually 2 for 3. He had a single back in the 3rd inning and then had that double for an RBI in the 7th. That was Tuesday night in Texarkana. Next pitch to Sims, swung on, hit foul, back out of play. 0-2 the count to Will Sims. Jace Thompson with good speed running at first base. And first base coach Bruce Silman not too far from the action there where he can have a little commentary if he wants to with Jace Thompson. And now pitcher taking a little bit too long for Will Sims, and he stepped out on Ryan Sellers. Now back in there. There's a lob to first base. Just let Thompson know, I know you're over there. That's what I always call that lob pitch over there. You're not, if you pick anybody off, they'd have to have fallen asleep, literally. Here's the 0-2 pitch, buzzed inside, missed, to 1 ball and 2 strikes. In the bottom of the second inning, again, the last score we had in the bottom of the 3rd over at the Lady Cat Park. Lady Cats leading 3-2. And the 1-2 pitch, breaking ball and hit off the third baseman's glove. Throws to second. I think he still got to the out at second base. So despite kicking the ball around and a lot of other things there by Michael Sikorsky, he was able to get the lead runner. That's one of the things about third base at the hot corner, getting a ball that's hit so hard. And so he was able to get Thompson to avoid picking up an error. Sims will be on the fielder's choice. We still have not had a hit in the ball game. I thought that was going to be it, but third baseman got the glove down enough to knock it down. Here's Payson Edwards with one out and a runner at first. A designated hitter. And Sellers the pitch. Inside, ball one. Edwards is hitting for Jace Birchfield, who's catching tonight for the Wildcats. Ever since they moved Argenbright to short, Birchfield's been doing the catching. And the 1-0 pitch. That one hit back in the screen, foul by Payson Edwards. 1 ball and 1 strike. Argenbright at short. And then Birchfield behind the plate. Sellers from the stretch, 1-1 pitch. Outside, 2-1 the count to Payson Edwards. Payson, a valuable player. You can move him around on the infield. He pitch for you. Turned into a pretty good closer. Here's a 2-1 pitch. Misses outside, 3-1. And Sellers is on the verge of walking his third batter and his second one here in the inning. But he has been tough to hit. Both these pitchers have. And from the stretch, here's a 3-1 pitch. That was poured in there for a call strike. The count goes full to Payson Edwards. And again, Will Sims running at first for the Wildcats. Sims with a modest lead off of first. Here's a 3-2 pitch. Breaking ball swung on, hit foul out of play. Watch out, fans. Be alert. I think that cleared the stands and went back behind them. Notice the ticket taker tonight. It could have been either the sun getting in the shade, but wanted a little overhang to protect from foul balls that come back through there close to them. There's a ball hit up the middle. Base hit for Payson Edwards. There's the first hit of the ball game. And Sims moves down to second. So for the second straight inning, the Wildcats have put 2 runners on base. And here's Connor Bergen. Connor, another one of the seniors. He's playing out in right field tonight. And up there with 1 out and runners at second and first. This guy's gotten some big hits this year. We've seen a few of them. And the pitch to Connor. Oh, got by the catcher all the way back to the screen. The Wildcats moved to third and second. As that was a wild pitch. Uncorked there by Ryan Sellers, and Halter couldn't get over to get it. He could not stop it from heading all the way back to the backstop. They do that again. It might be 1-0. There's a lot of foul territory back behind home plate. And Sims might have the opportunity to race in there from third base. And Sellers getting ready to deliver 1-0 pitch here, and the pitch on the way is bunted by Connor Bergen, but the runner gets back to third base. Coach Hammock wanted that ball put down, and he was not happy with that pop up into the air on the bunt. It was caught by Sellers, the pitcher for out number 2. They tried to throw back to third base, but the third baseman had broken, I think, to try to come in to field the bunt. He couldn't get back, so runner's able to get back. Runners at third and second with 2 outs, and here's Caden Argenbright, a good batter to have up there in this situation. Pitch from Sellers, low and inside for ball 1. Argenbright walked in the first, and he got as far as second base, and that was it when the first inning ended. Sellers looking in there from the stretch. Runners lead off third and second for the Wildcats in this scoreless game. Here's a 1-0 pitch. Outside, 2-0 the count to Caden Argenbright. I'll tell you what, when you're always throwing from behind, that can get you in trouble. So far, Sellers has not been hurt from it. Here's a 2-0 pitch hit by Argenbright up the middle, but right at Lyles, and he makes the catch. Boy, that was a well-struck ball, but right at the center fielder. And the Wildcats threatened for the second inning, but can't deliver with the big hit. No runs. They did have a hit in the inning. Texas High had no errors. The Wildcats left 2. They've left 4 through 2 innings of play. And we played 2 complete here at Wildcat Park. Texas High 0 and the Wildcats 0. It's a top of the third inning here from Wildcat Park in a 0-0 ball game. And for Texas High, they'll have the bottom 3 in the order. It'll be Jacob Hearn, their second baseman, and then their designated hitter, Cameron Radney, and the left fielder, Luke Smith. So 7, 8, and 9 here for Texas High here in the top of the third inning. Face Jackson Cheney. First pitch swung on, grounded slowly to second. Colson Hale fields, throws to first in time for out number 1. I like the way Colson attacks that ground ball. He really goes after it. And that's out number 1. That'll bring up the DH, Cameron Radney. Seemed like he had an at-bat. They used him as a pinch hitter the other night in Texarkana, and he delivered, he delivered a base hit. And that actually started the Texas High 6th, where they scored 2 runs to go ahead temporarily 2-1 before the Wildcats rallied. First pitch is outside for ball 1 to Radney, hitting with 1 out, nobody on. Here in the top of the third inning, Jackson Cheney 1-0 pitch. He pours that in for a call strike. Jackson very competitive. As Justin Manus, the Manuses have made their way into the park here. Here's a 1-1 pitch that swung on and grounded down to Harrison at first base. Takes a nice Chamber of Commerce bounce for him. For a room service made to order. And he handled that and stepped on the base for out number 2. So 2 up and 2 out. And that'll bring up the left fielder for Texas High, Luke Smith, a left-handed hitter for the Tigers with their bright orange tops tonight, and gray pants. And Cheney's pitch on the way, down too low for ball 1. And Smith back in the batter's box. And Cheney will pitch from the windup here, and the 1-0 pitch. That swung on, grounded to Colson Hale at second. He gobbles it up and throws to first. And once again, for the third straight inning, Texas High goes up and down in order. No runs, no hits, no errors, and nobody left on base. And we played 2.5 innings now from Wildcat Park. Texas High 0 and the Wildcats 0. It's the bottom of the third inning. The Wildcats will go back up to the top of the order. Well, actually, it'll be 2, 3, and 4. It'll be Colson Hale, Jackson Cheney, and Cameron Harrison scheduled to hit here in the bottom of the third in a 0-0 ball game. Kind of the way the JV game started tonight with a lot of zeros. But Wildcats finally broke through for 2 runs. Texas High got 1 of them back, and that ball game ended a 2-1 score. Tight win for the Wildcats JV against Texas High. Good job of coaching, by the way, by Shane McQueen. Here's a first pitch into Colson Hale in there for a call strike. And Shane, quite a baseball player himself years ago. And the 0-1 pitch swung on and grounded, nub down to the first baseman, fielded by Walker Davis, and he will touch the bag ahead of Colson Hale for out number 1. Here's Jackson Cheney. Cheney hit a fly ball to center field that was caught out there by Chris Lyles. Again, it was Cheney's blow the other night on Tuesday night over the right center field wall at Texas High that gave the Wildcats their lead in that one. 1-0. Here's a pitch from Ryan Sellers outside for ball 1. Again, Sellers has walked a couple. And here's a pitch, Cheney just foul off the third base line. Sikorsky dived for that ball, didn't come up with it, but it was in foul territory. And the count 1-1 now to Jackson Cheney, hitting in that 3-hole. Strike on the outside part of the plate. Cheney behind in the count, 1 ball and 2 strikes. And the 1-2 pitch. Breaking ball swung on by Cheney and hit well out toward left field. The left fielder over and makes the catch right in front of the foul pole and just about 3 or 4 feet from the wall. Cheney tried to go the short way right down that left field line. He just didn't quite get enough of it. He launched it a long way, but caught out there by Luke Smith for out number 2. 2 out, nobody on. Here's Cameron Harrison. Struck out first time up, hits a foul back into the screen. One of the ball games we did, Harrison hit a home run over that right field wall. That was against Texas High. I believe that tied that game up. Inside, 1 ball and 1 strike. Wildcats had fallen behind. I believe that's correct. That's my recollection. Here's a 1-1 pitch, swing and a miss, and Harrison down in the count, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Wildcats have a hit in the ball game. Here's a ball, and that's a base hit out into right center field. The center fielder will cut it off, and Harrison will round the bag and move back to first base after a solid single over the second baseman's head. So a 2-out single for Cameron Harrison, and again, he's got really good speed. I would say if you had a foot race, out of all the Wildcats, I think he might win that race. I bet a lot of guys would want to take him on. Maybe this Austin Dodd here. Austin pretty fleet-footed. Harrison draws a throw over at first. He's back in there. 2 outs, a runner at first, and Dodd hit a fly ball to center field that was caught, so he is 0 for 1. And again, Sellers from the stretch. And the pitch is outside to Austin Dodd, 1-0 the count. The Wildcats have had runners at first and second. Actually, they've had second and third in the second inning, but they've had 2 runners on in both the first 2 innings. That ball swung on, hit foul, out of play. 1 ball, 1 strike to Austin Dodd. Again, his batting average really on the rise when they moved him into that 5 hole. Got a 5 for 5 ball game. There's a throw to first. Harrison went back standing up over there. That's a pretty good sign that your lead is more than safe. Able to get back like that. Here's a 1-1 pitch, and that was up too high to Austin Dodd. 2-1 the count. Looked like over, but up a little too high in the strike zone. 2 balls and 1 strike. And Harrison a good lead off first. He draws the throw over there from Ryan Sellers. At Walker Davis at first baseman. I've seen him pitch against the Wildcats. He beat them last year in Texarkana. Pitched a whale of a ball game in that one, as I recall. Here's a 2-1 pitch, and that's ball 3 to Austin Dodd. Again, the last Lady Cat score we heard was bottom of the 3rd, and the Lady Cats up 3-2. Sellers from the stretch. Here's a 3-1 pitch. Runner taking off, and Dodd hits the ball to center field, but Lyles is going back, now settling under it, and makes the catch. They really haven't tested Lyles too much as he has not had to move very much. So the Wildcats get a base hit, no runs, 1 hit. There were no errors, and 1 runner left on base. So we played 3 complete innings. And our score after 3 here from Wildcat Park. The Wildcats at Sulphur Springs 0 and Texas High 0. And we move now into the top of the 4th inning. We've played 3 scoreless innings. And it'll be the top of the order for Texas High. Chris Sutton, he grounded the ball down to Cameron Harrison at first base in the 1st inning, so he is 0 for 1. And facing them, Jackson Cheney for the 2nd time. Breaking ball swung on and hit. Base hit to left field. Argenbright knocked it down in the hole, but no way he'd get the speedy Sutton on that. So Chris Sutton with a infield single. And actually that may have made just to the edge of the grass. Is just Argenbright's tremendous range. The ball was not hit real hard. It was just hit in a real good place right in that hole between 3rd and short. So Sutton on at first. Here's Ryan Sellers. He grounded to Argenbright at shortstop his first time up, 0 for 1. Pitch from Jackson Cheney, and he was a foul ball as Sellers was trying to bunt the ball and bunted it foul. So strike one to Ryan Sellers, trying to lay down the bunt as Texas High trying to play some small ball here in the top of the 4th inning. Cheney a lob to first base. Over to keep Chris Sutton around the bag. Would not be surprised if he took off, tried to steal second here. And Cheney's 0-1 pitch, bunted on. It's a beauty. This might be trouble. Cheney picks it up, cannot pick it up. And Ryan Sellers on the bunt. That would have taken a perfect play by Jackson, and just could not come up with that ball. So runners at first and second now with nobody out. And here's Connor Allred, one of the best hitters on the Texas High team. He also grounded to Argenbright back in the 1st inning, so he is 0 for 1. Dangerous hitter up there with 2 on, nobody out. Cheney from the stretch. Looks back at second, and the pitch on the way, and he's bunted that ball. I think it went all the way over the screen. That was a bunt, a high pitch too, and bunted it all the way over the screen for strike one. Texas High still trying to play small ball here and move those runners over with their first out here. Cheney from the stretch. Looks back at second at Sutton, and here's the 0-1 pitch, and that's in there for a call strike, and Allred is down in the count, 0-2. Beauty of a breaking ball there by Jackson Cheney. And Cheney from the stretch. Looks back at second, and the 0-2 pitch, that one swung on, foul back into the screen, and the count is 0-2 to Connor Allred. Connor, a left-handed batter. They're not holding Sellers on at first, so he's getting a pretty healthy lead over there. And here's the pitch, and that was up too high. 1 ball and 2 strikes. I think they may have, let's see if that's still Sellers down at first. I think it is. Yes, it is. It did not look, it looked like a single number there, but it's hard to tell on that front. That is an 11. And the 1-2 pitch. Breaking ball swung on, served out to left field, but the left fielder makes the catch. Good play by Jace Thompson coming in on that ball, and runners remain at first and second. That ball was hit well, but Jace Thompson able to chase that one down for out number 1. Here's the always dangerous Jackson Halter. He has caused the Wildcats a lot of grief in the 2 games that they've played. Hits the ball real well. He's in that 4 hole. So runners at first and second and 1 out. And Cheney's first pitch to Halter is in there for a call strike. Well, we have a new score after 4 innings at Lady Cat Park. The Lady Cats leading White House by the score of 6-2. So still a pretty tight ball game for the Lady Cats. Here's a swing and a miss. And Jackson Cheney ahead in the count now, 0-2. There's 1 out, runners at second and first. And again, good speed on the bases for Texas High. Cheney again looks back at second. And the 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, and he struck Halter out. So Jackson Cheney, after putting the first 2 runners on base, has retired the last 2, and that'll bring up Chris Lyles. He grounded to short to Argenbright in the 2nd inning, so he is 0 for 1. And a chance to try to get Texas High out in front here as they have that runner in scoring position at second base. Jackson Cheney trying to prevent that, and Jackson taking a little bit too long for Lyles, and Lyles stepped out, and umpire granted that timeout and stepped out with him. They're both back now. And Cheney's first pitch on the way. Breaking ball swung on and hit the left center field. That's trouble. That may score 2. One run comes in easily to score, and the second run will come in, and now here's Lyles moving to third, and he will move in with a triple. A 2 RBI triple for Chris Lyles. And Texas High takes a 2-0 lead. So Sutton scored easily from second base. Actually, Sellers scored pretty easily too. When you hit a triple, it kind of makes it easy for those guys to score. So 2 runs in for Texas High. And here's Michael Sikorsky, that pitch outside for ball 1. Sikorsky was the starting pitcher on Tuesday night for Texas High, and he ended up taking the loss in that one. Again, Cheney from the stretch. And the 1-0 pitch, and that's up to, that 1-0 pitch, and now 2-0. I had marked that wrong as a strike, so I didn't believe myself or the scoreboard, but 2-0 is the count. And the 2-0 pitch, and that's misses outside 3-0. So Sikorsky on the verge of walking here. Are 2 outs in the inning, but Texas High has plated a couple of runs. And Cheney from the stretch. And the 3-0 pitch. Ball 4, and the Sikorsky walks. That is the first walk by Jackson Cheney. Runners now at the corners at third and first, and here's Jacob Hearn. He grounded to second his first time up. 0 for 1 in the ball game. And Texas High now up 2-0 in the ball game with 2 runs here in the top of the 4th inning. Argenbright trotted to the mound, had a few brief words with Jackson Cheney. As Sikorsky leads off first, Jackson checks him out. Now comes to the stretch, and the pitch to Hearn is in there for a call strike. And the speedy Chris Lyles down at third base. Well, while they don't have that wander off first play, we'll see if they can't try to steal a run with Lyles. Of course, Coach Hammock's seen that a lot. I'm sure he defenses against that. The 0-1 pitch swung on, hit to the second baseman. He'll throw to Argenbright for the force, and that'll get the Wildcats out of the inning. But in the inning, Texas High scores a pair of runs as they had 2 hits. And there was 1 error and 2 Texas High runners left on base. So we played 3.5 here from Wildcat Park. Texas High 2 and the Wildcats 0. The bottom of the 4th inning, the Wildcats trying to get on the board here against tough pitcher Ryan Sellers. They trail 2-0. T-High just scored a couple of runs in the top of the 4th inning. Jace Thompson, Will Sims, and Payson Edwards scheduled hitters here in the bottom of the 4th. So far, the Wildcats no runs and 2 hits. Cameron Harrison had a single, and so did Payson Edwards. Texas High has had 2 hits. And here's Jace Thompson. First pitch to Jace is swung on and served out into right center field. It's in there for a base hit. Thompson digging around first. Ball is fumbled out into right field, and that'll allow Thompson to easily go into second. That might have been a fairly close play at second, but once the ball was bobbled out there, it made the task easier. So a double as Jace Thompson leads off the bottom of the 4th. And here's Will Sims, who's been a pretty valuable hitter this year. Will was on a fielder's choice his first time up, 0 for 1 in the ball game. Thompson leads from second. Sellers looks back there, and the pitch on the way is swung on and hit foul between Bruce Silman and the Wildcats dugout. That ball was kind of cued off there. It'll look like some serious English on that. So strike 1 to Will Sims. Sellers from the stretch looks back at second. And the 0-1 pitch is swung on, hit right up the middle. Lyles is coming in. It lands in front of him. And runners are at the corners at first and third after the Wildcats open the fourth with a pair of hits. So Jace Thompson at third, Will Sims at first. And Payson Edwards the batter. He singled in the second inning. So let's see what kind of wheels that Jared Hammock has turning around. See what he plans to do here. All kinds of things that you can do. Whether you try to bunt that ball down, pick up a run, or we'll see what happens. And the pitch, got away from the catcher, and the runner will move down to second. Sims moves to second. Another wild pitch there by Sellers. And now the Wildcats have runners at third and second, and ball one count to Payson Edwards. So you would think he would definitely be taking a big swat right now, as Texas High is in double play depth at second and short, kind of coming in a little bit. Maybe a little bit at first base and third. Pitch on the way, down low and outside, 2-0 the count, Payson Edwards. As Sellers keeps trying to keep that ball down low, and now the third baseman, Michael Sikorsky, is going to come in and talk to Ryan Sellers. And delivers a message out there and then heads back to third base. And Payson back into the batter's box. Again, one of those 9 seniors for the Wildcats. And Sellers 2-0 pitch. Swung on and hit foul out of play off to the right side. And the count 2 balls and 1 strike to Payson Edwards. He's the designated hitter tonight, hitting for Jace Birchfield, Wildcats catcher. Connor Bergen is on deck for the Wildcats. Third and second, and nobody out. The Wildcats trying to tie it up here. Here's a pitch, and that missed up too high, and Payson doing a good job of checking his swing. And the count goes to 3-1. So Sellers is 1 pitch away from loading the bases here in the bottom of the 4th inning. And again, nobody out. Sellers from the stretch, and the 3-1 pitch is swung on and hit out to right field. The right fielder coming in, though, and makes the catch, and Jace Thompson will fake coming and then draw the throw, and it was a fairly accurate throw, so he stayed put. At least you force the throw in case somebody uncorks a wild one. That was just did not carry enough for the sacrifice fly, and Allred kept coming in more and more shallow, so that's out number 1 for the Wildcats. That'll bring up Caden Argenbright. Boy, he hit the ball very well in the second inning, but it was caught by the center fielder. Just an atom ball. He walked in the first, so he's 0 for 1 in the ball game. Wait, this is Connor Bergen, excuse me. I'm getting I tried to skip right over Connor. He tried to bunt and popped up to the pitcher, so let's let Connor Bergen hit here from the right side before we bring Argenbright up. And the first pitch now to Connor, swung on and hit out toward left field. The left fielder coming over and makes the catch. Jace Thompson tags, he's heading. Here's a throw, and it's a close play. He just scored. Jace Thompson hit the front of that plate and then bounced up. And Halter, I think, was expecting him to slide through, and Jace Thompson with a nifty little slide there, a pop-up slide, is able to score on that sacrifice fly to left field, and the Wildcats get a run. And on the play, Sims moved down to third. So the Wildcats have the tying run on at third base. Nice sacrifice fly. Glad that I got the right batter up there. That's out number 2, by the way. Now we have Caden Argenbright. And again, he hit the ball hard, but right at the center fielder, so he's 0 for 1 and also walked. Trying to tie the ball game up for the Wildcats. Runner at third and 2 outs against Ryan Sellers. And Sellers' first pitch on the way to Argenbright. Down low and outside for ball 1. Again, Sellers trying to keep that ball low, and so that always factors into the chance of a wild pitch pass ball kind of situation that could tie it up. Here's a 1-0 pitch, swung on, slash to right field. Base hit by Caden Argenbright, and we're tied at 2. Coming in to score, Will Sims. Boy, a hot shot out into right field, well struck by Caden Argenbright, and he gets an RBI single. So the Wildcats strike back after Texas High had a 2-run fourth. And here's Colson Hale on a fielder's choice and then grounded unassisted to the first baseman. So he is 0 for 2. And the pitch on the way outside for ball 1 to Colson Hale with Argenbright, a pretty smart runner on base. He runs the bases well. And now Halter trots out to talk to Sellers on the mound. Wildcats tied it up. A double by Jace Thompson, single by Will Sims at first and third. Then a wild pitch moves Sims to second. And then a sacrifice fly by Bergen scored 1, and Argenbright with a single scored the second one. 1-0 pitch, buzzed Hale inside. He backed off of it, and he's ahead in the count, 2-0. Hale, a pesky little hitter in there. And Sellers 2-0 pitch. There's that low ball again. This time Halter did a good job of getting down there and blocking it. Argenbright stayed put. 3-0 the count now to Colson Hale. Colson back into the batter's box, and Argenbright fairly good lead off first. And Sellers, the 3-1 pitch, misses outside, a 4-pitch walk to Colson Hale. So the Wildcats not done yet in this inning. Runners at second and first with 2 outs, and here's Jackson Cheney. He flied to center field and hit the ball almost out in left field, but the left fielder right in front of the wall made the catch. And Coach Hammock having a talk now, and you can bet that the Texas High coach is having a conversation. This is Coach McClure having a conversation about do not make a mistake to this big fella here. This is a guy that makes you pay for mistakes. Jackson Cheney. He's already had 2 long flies to the outfield tonight.
The pitcher, Jackson Cheney.
So with 2 outs, runners at first and second. And Jackson Cheney steps in. Argenbright off second. Hale not being held on at first, so he's got a giant lead at first base. Argenbright, pretty good lead off second, but the second baseman's paying him some attention. And here's the first pitch to Jackson Cheney. Swung on and popped on the infield. He slings the bat, and first baseman Walker Davis in foul territory. Might have even landed in fair if he had not have caught it, but he did. And that's going to do it for the Wildcats, but they do tie the score. And Jeff Harris still announcing the Lady Cats up 6-2. I did not hear the inning, but that continues to progress there. And that is Addison Cadell, by the way, pitching for the Lady Cats tonight. So she's doing a good job, apparently. 2 runs for the Wildcats, and they had 3 hits. There were no Texas High errors, and the Wildcats left 2. They've left 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 runners through 4 innings. Ouch. So that's the end of 4 complete here at Wildcat Park. The Wildcats 2 and Texas High 2. Before we start the Texas High top of the 5th inning, a couple of scores to give you. Lady Cats leading White House 6-2 after 5 innings. And somebody told us that Lindale is leading Greenville 4-1. That's of great importance to Texas High fans. First pitch comes in now to Cameron Radney, and he hits a foul back into the screen for strike 1. Yeah, if Lindale wins that, they, well, in all intents and purposes, would be the number 1 seed. Texas High can tie them if they win here, but Lindale's got the tiebreakers. They were having to hope for a Greenville win. 0-1 pitch. Oh, Cheney broke off a very nice curve that Radney could not hit, and the count goes to 0-2. Of course, that ball game, I don't know what inning that one's in, but Lindale with an early lead on Greenville. 0-2 pitch. Call, strike 3. Jackson Cheney strikes out Cameron Radney for out number 1 here in the 5th inning. Here's Luke Smith. He grounded to second. He's 0 for 1. Smith, the left fielder for Texas High, a left-handed hitter against the righty Jackson Cheney. And Cheney's first pitch now to Smith, over but low for ball 1. Top of the order on deck for Texas High, Chris Sutton. And the 1-0 pitch, swung on, grounded to Colson Hale. He bobbles it. Oh, and had to beat it to death there. Could not pick that ball up. And Smith is on the air. And so runner at first with 1 out, and that'll bring up Chris Sutton. Sutton out on a grounder to Cameron Harrison at first time up, and then singled and scored in the 4th. So Sutton 1 out of 2. Hits with 1 out and 1 on here in the top of the 5th inning. Cheney's pitch on the way, swung on and grounded down to Harrison at first. He'll go back to the bag and retire Sutton. And on the play, moving down to second, is Luke Smith.
The pitcher, Ryan Sellers.
So that's the 2nd out in the inning, and now here's Ryan Sellers. He grounded to short and then bunted down the first baseline, and Jackson Cheney could not field it cleanly. And so Sellers is 0 for 2 as he was on an error on that second one. Cheney with 2 outs with that runner down at second, trying to get out of here unscathed. And the pitch to Sellers is in there for a call strike. Hit the outside part of the plate, probably around the knees. Tough pitch to hit that one. And Cheney staring in, and now Sellers is going to step out. And when he did that, the runner Smith moved back to the bag at second. All that action and reaction going on in baseball. Here's the 0-1 pitch, just off the plate on the breaking ball, and the count 1 ball and 1 strike. Probably was in the zone, and then when it broke, it probably broke out of the zone. Lady Cats trying to wrap up their series with White House, and they're leading 6-2 going after 5. 1-1 pitch, swung on, foul ball, terrorizes Coach Minnie down there at first base. He's a big fella, a big coach for Texas High. 1 ball and 2 strikes. James, I hope you're still there. Heard something weird in the ears. Here's a 1 ball and 2 strikes, buzzed inside to Sellers, and count 2 balls and 2 strikes. We're in the top of the 5th inning, a 2-2 ball game here, a tight one with a lot on the line. Texas High would like a co-championship. 2-2 pitch, breaking ball, swung on and popped out toward right field, and coming on and making the catch out there in right field is Connor Bergen. As Colson Hale was going out, and he finally got out of the way and let Connor Bergen make that catch out there in right field for out number 3. Perhaps either one of them could have made the catch, but Bergen, it's always easier to come when you're coming in to make that catch. So Texas High, no runs, no hits, 1 Wildcat error, and 1 runner left on base. We played 4.5 innings here from Wildcat Park. It's the Wildcats 2 and Texas High 2. We have a pitching change here for Texas High as we go into the bottom of the 5th inning. Replacing Sellers now in pitching is Connor Allred. He came in from right field. Not quite. Let's see if I can spy. That looks like a 13 is now out in right field. And let's see, that would be Cole Jean So Cole Jean is now out in right field for Texas High, and pitching is Connor Allred. After the Texas High pitcher, I didn't see how many pitches he had, but it was bound to be a sizable amount. Seemed like he threw a lot of pitches, walked several. And here's Cameron Harrison against Connor Allred. Connor's pitch outside for ball one. So a pitching change for Texas High here. I have not seen Allred pitch. I've seen Sikorsky and also Sellers. And we've also seen the shortstop pitch some. Chris Sutton came in that game one. Ball was fouled back into the screen by Harrison. 1 ball and 1 strike. And 1-1 pitch. And that missed. 2 balls and 1 strike to Cameron Harrison. And Allred's 2-1 pitch. High and outside, 3-1 the count. Allred came in from right field, and replacing him out there again, Cole Jean. And that's Jean, G-E-A-N. 3-1 pitch, called strike on the outside part of the plate. Count goes full to Cameron Harrison. He struck out in the first and singled in the third, so he is 1 out of 2. Swing and a miss, and Allred will start his pitching line with a strikeout. That'll bring up Austin Dodd. He has flied to the center fielder twice. He is 0 for 2. So Dodd hitting with 1 out and nobody on. His first appearance against Connor Allred. And Austin Dodd in from the right side. And here comes the pitch. It's in there for a call strike to Austin Dodd. Dodd, one of those unusual players, a left-handed thrower and right-handed hitter. And the 0-1 pitch that swung on, hit foul out of play off to the right. Got some nice color in the sky, still some residue from the sunset. And 0-2 the count to Austin Dodd. And Allred's 0-2 pitch that misses outside. 1 ball and 2 strikes. 1 out, nobody on. We're in the bottom of the 5th inning in a 2-2 ball game. A big one for both teams. Here's a single by Austin Dodd right up the middle. And Austin races around first base and then puts on the brakes as Texas High gets that ball back in. I'll bring up Jace Thompson. Thompson had a big hit that got the Wildcats going in that 4th inning. He doubled and came around to score the first run. And Jace also walked, so he is officially 1 for 1 in the ball game with a run scored. And Dodd, a speedy runner, he'll steal you a base. And swung on by Thompson, foul tip at home plate for strike 1. Dodd did not appear to be going on that first pitch. He probably has the go-ahead anytime he wants to steal. I think Coach Hammock has given him the go-ahead. He's such a good and fast base runner. Allred's next pitch wanted on. It's a beauty by Thompson. The third baseman fields, throws to first in time at first. Dodd keeps running all the way to third, and the ball's thrown away. And Austin Dodd will pick himself up and come in and score. You talk about stealing a run, as Austin Dodd on at first base, and Thompson laid down a beautiful bunt. It was a close play at first. Dodd went around second and never stopped running, and barreled into third base. The throw was a wild one at third, and Dodd just picked himself up and came in, and the Wildcats lead 3-2. Boy, Thompson, a nice bid for a bunt base hit. That was a beauty that he laid down, but it was out number 2, but Dodd steals the run for the Wildcats. It was a bad throw across the diamond. And now Will Sims, the hitter, and he takes a strike. On a fielder's choice and singled and scored, so Sims is 1 out of 2. hits with the bases empty now, but the Wildcats have a 3-2 lead here in the bottom of the 5th inning. And the 0-1 pitch that swung on and popped up on the infield. The second baseman backing up into the grass now comes on the dirt and makes the catch at second base. And that's going to do it for the Wildcats, but they get a run. Had 1 run on 1 hit. A big Texas High throwing error. And the Wildcats had nobody left on base. So we've played 5 complete innings here from Wildcat Park. The Wildcats at Sulphur Springs 3 and Texas High 2. So top of the 6th inning as we move along here. Texas High will have Connor Allred, now the pitcher, and then Jackson Halter and Chris Lyles. So hitters 3, 4, and 5 right in the heart of this Texas High order here in the top of the 6th inning. Allred is 0 for 2. Grounded to short, flied to left. Hit the ball well out to left field, but Thompson made a good catch out there. And the pitch from Jackson Cheney, breaking ball, and ball 1 to Connor Allred. And we've got a Lady Cat score to report here when we get a chance. Here's a 1-0 pitch, and that's down too low for ball 2. 6-2 after 6. Boy, the last 3 driver messages have just changed the inning. The score remains the same. So the Lady Cats trying to shut them down in the 7th and win that bi-district series. There's a called strike by Jackson Cheney. 2 balls and 1 strike. So Lady Cats 6 and White House 2, and they're moving now into the top of the 7th inning. And Cheney's 2-1 pitch on the way. Swung on, hit foul on the left side. 2-2 the count to Connor Allred. Started in right field and now pitching for Texas High. And he is a left-handed batter and a right-handed thrower. We were talking about Austin Dodd out there. Here's a 2-2 pitch, misses outside, the count goes full. Always amazed me that a player throws with one hand and bats with the other. And the 3-2 pitch on the way from Cheney, and that missed. Boy, the fans are moaning and groaning over that. They thought they liked that pitch. But a base on balls for Connor Allred to lead off the top of the 6th inning here. That'll bring up pesky hitting catcher Jackson Halter. Grounded to second, struck out in the 4th. So Jackson Cheney's got him 0-2 tonight. But he has given the Wildcats a lot of grief in the first 2 ball games, seems like. And he is bunting, and it's a beauty. Fielded by Jackson Cheney, throws to first to Cameron Harrison in time for the out, and the sacrifice works. So the catcher did his job with the sacrifice. Wildcats play good defense on it. So Allred moves to second with 1 out, and here's Chris Lyles. He grounded to shortstop and then drove in both of Texas High's runs with a triple. Cleared the bases. Cheney from the stretch. Looks back at second, and the pitch on the way pours a strike in on the outside part of the plate. 0-1 the count to Chris Lyles, a very dangerous hitter. He was in the 2 spot the other night. They've moved him down now to number 5. Cheney from the stretch. And the 0-1 pitch, and he put that one in the same spot. Strike 2 as he's thrown 2 on the outside part of the plate and down pretty low. Tough pitches to hit. Not many players are going to light you up hitting low and away. There are some low ball hitters, and I don't know how they do it. And Chris Lyles back in the batter's box. 1 out, runner at second, and 0-2 the count. And Jackson Cheney's pitch is hit right off the fist and fouled back into the screen off to the right side. The count remains 0-2. Cheney crawls back up on that hill and gets ready to pitch with Allred leading off second base. He's the tying run in the ball game. And Cheney's 0-2 pitch Swung on, hit foul off to the right side. The count remains 0-2. Lyle steps out and adjusts that batting glove and now steps back in there against Jackson Cheney. Cheney from the stretch, and the 0-2 pitch. That swung on, hit foul down the right side. May have hit off maybe the batting cages down that right, in that foul territory down in the right field area. And Cheney from the stretch. And his 0-2 pitch, breaking ball. That one broke off the plate. I'm sure will try to tempt Lyles with that one, but 1 ball and 2 strikes. Understand maybe Lyles and Sutton may be targeted for Southern Arkansas for baseball. They would, Southern Arkansas would be getting quite a pair in those 2 young men as Lyles steps out. They've been a big part of the Texas High offense for several years. And Cheney from the stretch looks back at second. Here's a 1-2 pitch. Over but low. 2 balls and 2 strikes. I think Jackson wanted that pitch a little bit. Maybe a whole lot. 2 balls and 2 strikes. You could just see body language. I thought maybe that was a pretty good pitch against this tough hitter. And Cheney ready to work. The runner from second base takes off. Here's a grounder to the short. Slowly hit to Argenbright. Throw across, and they got him at first base, I think. No, he's safe at first. I knew it was going to be a close play. I thought they had gotten him there, but safe at first. That ball was not hit very hard, and that made it a very tough play for Argenbright. So now with 1 out, the runners at the corners for Texas High. And here's Michael Sikorsky. He hit the ball down to the first baseman and tagged the bag and then walked. 0 for 1. And let's see, we have something from Derek Driver here. 6-2 final. And the Lady Cats will advance to play Midlothian, who won a doubleheader yesterday. First pitch outside now to Michael Sikorsky. So the Lady Cats, Doug is highly disappointed that we don't get to make a return trip to White House bright and early tomorrow morning. He says, oh, darn. Maybe I can go and have my teeth worked on or something. Here's a 1-0 pitch. Swing and a miss. And 1 ball and 1 strike to Michael Sikorsky with 1 out. Runners at the corners for Texas High. And the Wildcats with a 3-2 lead as we play here in the top of the 6th inning. Cheney from the stretch. And the 1-1 pitch, breaking ball. Runner takes off for second. There's the throw to second, and they got him out at second base. What a throw by Jace Birchfield as he throws out Chris Lyles at second base. My, oh my. It was a shock that they threw through to second. You would think the runner might take off on a double steal from third. What a beautiful peg by Jace Birchfield, getting that runner out at second base. Nice tag by that middle infielder too, by the way. That's 2 outs, runner at third. And 1-1 pitch now, and just off the plate. And 2-1 the count to Michael Sikorsky. I think we missed, the 3-1 is the count. I was going to say we missed a pitch in there somewhere when the ball got thrown to second. And now the Sikorsky steps out. Boy, a game changer right there. What a beautiful throw by catcher Jace Birchfield. That strong arm. He's a pitcher sometimes, so he can flat throw the ball. He threw a strike to second. Here's a 3-1 pitch. Breaking ball call. Strike 2. Cheney breaks off a beautiful breaking ball. And the count full on Sikorsky. They've still got Connor Allred down at third. Wildcats trying to hold on here. They lead 3-2. Cheney from the stretch. And the 3-2 pitch. That one fouled back into the screen by Sikorsky. And so the count 3 balls and 2 strikes. Again, Lady Cats win 6-2 tonight against White House. They win the series 2-0. And they'll play Midlothian in the area round. And the 3-2 pitch swung on and hit out to left field. Jace Thompson moving over and makes the catch in left center field. Looked like he was tracking the ball okay, but he kept moving and made the catch. And the Wildcats get out of a tough-looking inning there for a while. No runs and 1 hit. And no Wildcat errors. And Texas High had 1 runner left on base. And after 5.5 innings of play, it's the Wildcats 3 and Texas High 2. So bottom of the 6th inning, and the Wildcats will have 8, 9, and 1 scheduled to hit. That means the scheduled hitters anyway. Payson Edwards, Connor Bergen, and top of the order, Caden Argenbright.
Leading off the Wildcats, the designated hitter, Payson Edwards.
And here's Edwards. He is 1 out of 2. He singled in the second and then hit a fly ball out to right field his second time up, so 1 out of 2. Hitting from the right side. And Connor Allred in his second inning of work. He allowed a hit but nothing more in the last inning. Throws a strike in there to Payson Edwards. 0-1 the count. Also had a strikeout in that 5th. Scoreless 5th for the Wildcats. No, I take that back. They scored a run. What was I thinking there? Swing and a miss, strike 2. That 1 hit was by Austin Dodd, and on a bunt, he moved all the way to third, and then on a wild throw, he came in to score. Dodd, kind of a one-man rally there. Here's the next pitch, and misses. The count goes to 1 ball and 1 strike. No, 1 and 2, excuse me. 1 and 2 to Payson Edwards, leading off in the bottom of the 6th. Allred's next pitch bounced in there, 2 balls and 2 strikes. So as soon as we find some information from Coach David Carrillo on Midlothian, I don't know when they'll have a chance to talk. They may be talking as we speak. Here's a 2-1 pitch, and it swung on foul back into the screen. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Payson Edwards. Yeah, Coach Carrillo knew that we were going to be playing Midlothian when I talked to him before this ball game tonight, because they had won a doubleheader last night against Mesquite Poteet. 2-2 pitch. Oh, a beautiful breaking ball for strike 3. Boy, that was a real bender there. A nice curve by Connor Allred. And here's Connor Bergen. He tried to bunt, bunted it high in the air to the pitcher, and then hit a very good sacrifice fly to left field that scored Jace Thompson, the Wildcats' first run. Hits a foul back into the screen, and Connor Bergen is one of the 9 seniors for the Wildcats. Honored on senior night. And I got to give it to those guys. They really kept information pertinent but brief. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Outside part of the plate, off the plate, and that counts 1 ball and 1 strike. To Connor Bergen, right-handed hitting right fielder for the Wildcats. Allred's 1-1 pitch. Missed outside, 2-1 the count. And Bergen with an open stance up there. And the 2-1 pitch is served out to right field. Looks like it's going to be in foul territory. The right fielder coming over, he dives for the ball. And could not come up with it, but boy, a great effort out there by the new right fielder, Cole Jean. As he was probably off 15 feet into foul territory, dive for the ball, just could not come up with it. 2 balls and 2 strikes now to Connor Bergen. 1 out, nobody on. In the bottom of the 6th inning. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Breaking ball swung on. I think he foul tipped it, but the catcher held it. And Allred is credited with 2 strikeouts here in the inning. And here's Caden Argenbright, who's 1 out of 2. He walked in the first, hit a hard ball to center field that was caught by the center fielder, and then singled, had an RBI single, drove in Wildcat's second run. Swings and misses on that one. It popped out of the catcher's glove. And strike 1 to Argenbright. His teammates call him Argie. A-R-G-I-E perhaps. Maybe A-R-G-Y. I don't know. Here's the 0-1 pitch. That's the thing with nicknames. Who knows how to spell them? You just know them. It's Argie. Left-handed hitting leadoff hitter. The 1-1 pitch on the way, swung on and hit foul off to the left side. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Wonder if the Wildcats, looks like Jackson Cheney has maybe like 76 pitches, so he's got a lot of pitches still in that tank. See if Coach Hammett thinks that he can go out there and finish the ball game. Pitch outside, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Certainly he's okay on the pitch count. It's just whether or not he, feels up to it. He feels like he's got anything left, or if he's tiring. Or Jackson's quite a competitor. I would imagine he'll be out there. Here's a 2-2 pitch, swung on by Argenbright and hit out toward left field, and it's going to be caught off the left field line by the Texas High left fielder, and that's going to do it for the Wildcats in the 6th, up and down in order. No runs, no hits, no errors, and nobody left on base. We've played 6 complete innings now, and our score after 6, the Wildcats 3 and Texas High 2. Oh my goodness, Boston has broken out here at Wildcat Park, the Sweet Caroline by Neil Diamond. Top of the 7th inning, last chance for Texas High theoretically. Wildcats leading 3-2, and it's the bottom third of the order for Texas High against Jackson Cheney, who is out there to try to finish this one off for the Wildcats. He'll face Jacob Hearn, designated hitter Cameron Radney, and the left fielder Luke Smith. 7, 8, and 9 in the Texas High order, and Hearn is first. He's 0 for 2. Cheney's first pitch on the way, pours a strike in there for strike 1. Always like your pitcher to start that inning with a big strike. Kind of sets the tone. Against second baseman Jacob Hearn. Here's the 0-1 pitch, and that ball is hit back up the middle toward Argenbright. He scoops it up, fires to first for out number 1. 0-1 Texas High out. And Cameron Radney will now hit, as he'll be his 3rd at bat. He grounded first baseman and struck out, so he is 0 for 2 in the contest. And again, Radney Tuesday night in Texarkana came up as a pinch hitter in that big Texas High 6th, and he led off that inning with a base hit. Ended up scoring one of their 2 runs that put them ahead at the time. And Cheney's pitch to Radney, and that's up too high, ball 1. Cheney's pitch count looks like to be at about 79, so he's got plenty more pitches. He can throw 31 more, so that's a lot. Here's a 1-0 pitch, breaking ball. Must have come in a little too high. Looked like it broke right over the plate, but the umpire said too high, and the ball 2-0 the count to Cameron Radney. Cheney from the windup, and the 2-0 pitch. Swing and a miss. 2-1 the count. And it appears that Luke Smith is on deck, I believe. Here's the next pitch on the way. Swung on foul, back out of play. 2-2 the count to Radney. Wildcats deep all the way around the infield. This is a big fellow, though. It looked like he would be a lumberer down the line and not a real speed demon. Here's a 2-2 pitch. Breaking ball hammered out into left center field. Jace Thompson over and makes the catch in left center field. A diving catch for Jace Thompson to rob Cameron Radney. Oh my, boy, the fans are out of their seats clapping that play. That looked like a gapper. And Jace Thompson going into the gap and making a diving catch for out number 2. Maybe Coach Hammock had it right. A team of destiny, he called his team this week. 2 out, nobody on, and here's Luke Smith. He's 0 for 2. Pitch to Luke, swung on, hit foul. Down the first base way between the Texas High first base coach and the Wildcats dugout. 0-1 the count. Jackson Chaney 1 out away from spinning a victory here for the Wildcats. And Jackson Chaney, 0-1 pitch, pours a strike in there. Texas High down to their last strike. Wildcats 1 strike away from the playoffs. And probably a trip, I would imagine, against Hallsville, if I had to guess. And the 0-2 pitch, swing, oh, just not held. That ball popped out of the catcher's mitt. That was so close to a final strike there. They'll throw that ball out of play and put another one in there. Boy, that was close. 0-2 the count to Luke Smith. I believe that's Luke, isn't it? No, this is Gene. No, this is Gene up there. And that pitch misses. So this is Cole Gene. Came in there to play right field. They moved another player over to left. Might have been Sellers. There's a ball hit off to the right side. 0-2 the count. That left fielder confused me, but it does look like it probably was Sellers for Texas High. He moved over to left. And then this is Gene. And so when they moved Sellers to left, they took Smith out of the ball game. So this is Cole Gene hitting. First time at the plate. And the 1-2 pitch. Oh, he got down there and just fouled that one back to the base of the screen. And Jackson Chaney just barely over 80 pitches here. Once again, very economic. Only about 12 pitches an inning. Wildcats fans, it's a wonder they don't rise. Remember when all the major league teams like Oakland A's would do that? They'd all stand up in 2 strikes. And I saw Juan Gonzalez sit him right back down one night too when he hit the ball out of the ballpark. And the 1-2 pitch is swung on and hit down to Cameron Harrison. He makes the catch, and the Wildcats are in the playoffs. And Jackson Chaney just punted his glove up into the air. And they are all over Jackson out there. And the Wildcats are celebrating as they're heading for the playoffs. And the head coach, John McClure, a fine gentleman, has gone over and shook the hand of Jared Hammock and then went and found Bruce Silman. That's a gentleman coach right there. I tell you, there's a great deal of respect in these 2 coaching staffs. They love to get after each other. But when all is said and done, they are friends. And that was a great moment of friendship there with John McClure. You know, it had to hurt because the Wildcats this week have not only knocked them out of first place, but now knocked them out of the tie with Glendale. But the Texas High will be in the playoff hunt. And they will be the number 2 seed in the district with their 10-5 record. The Wildcats go to 7-8. And it doesn't matter what anybody else does. The Wildcats are in the playoffs. If Mount Pleasant wins, then that will eliminate Royce City, and the Wildcats will move past them. And if Royce City wins, there would be a 3-way tie, and district rules say that you then go by record against each other. And I believe Royce City would have the best record against others, and Wildcats would have the second best record, and Mount Pleasant, I believe, would be the odd team out. I believe that's the way that all works. So the Wildcats win this one, and they win this one by the score of 3-2. And Austin Dodd, how about that, stealing that run in the bottom of the 5th inning, as he just never quit running. A beautiful bunt by Jace Thompson. And Dodd was on first, went around second, and ran all the way to third. He drew a throw, which was wild, and he picked himself up and came in and scored the winning run for the Wildcats. Turns out to be the winning run as they win this one by the score of 3-2. Jackson Cheney, a great effort on the hill for the Wildcats. Another well-pitched ball game for Jackson. And Ryan Sellers will take the loss for Texas High. I want to make sure that, no, that is not correct. The loss will go to Allred. He gave up that third run. So Allred took the loss in relief of Sellers. But what an evening. The Lady Cats win tonight at Lady Cat Park 6-2 over White House. They will eliminate White House, and they will now play Midlothian. And we will hopefully give you details on the coaches show tomorrow morning with Coach David Carrillo. And we also hope to have Coach Jared Hammett talking about his team of destiny. We'll have to ask him about that again. He said that earlier this week, and they look like a destined team tonight is the way they came away with their 2 victories this week and a pair, well, 4-2 win on Tuesday night, 3-2 win tonight. Let's go ahead and wrap it up here as the Wildcats will make the playoffs, and we will tell you as much as we can find out. Again, I'm thinking that Hallsville probably going to win that other district, but I don't really know that for a fact, and we shall see if we can figure it all out. Coach Hammock will tell us the latest on the coaches show tomorrow. So James Terry running spots back at the station. We appreciate him. Doug Haston did our engineering again, and it sounded like another flawless broadcast to me. I hope all the streaming went well tonight. And also doing all the video work. Have a replay on Channel 18, and at some point the game will be put up on YouTube, and just as soon as Doug can get all that done. And I'm Don Julian with your play-by-play, and once again a thriller here from Wildcat Park as the Wildcats beat Texas High 3-2 and get into the playoffs, and took 5 straight wins after they were 2-8 in district play, and they finished 7-8 in district play. Team of destiny. I think Coach Hammock may have something there. Thank you so much for joining us, and so long, everybody.